You better be looking for mice. I don't like cats. What do you think you're doing, Joe? It's not your home. Go kill something. That's your job. Huh? What are you doing? Apparently it wants to go fast. I don't know. All right, made some progress this weekend. I didn't really film anything. It was hard to get set up. Did a lot of welding at odd angles. I could really use a lift, but I did make progress. So don't know, I don't think I put it on video before, but I didn't have any bracing to keep the forward and back movement, and the mid plates flexed, and now they don't move at all. That is super solid. And it's because I welded the subframe, which connects us to the motor, to the chassis. So all of this triangulated in, and then the control arms mount off of that. And then there's actually a mid-plate mount down there too, which is super solid. All right, show you that. So that comes off of there. And again, it doesn't have to worry about any movement this way. It's just this way. And surprisingly, those little thin motor plates are super stiff when they don't get bent. So you can see some of the triangulation here. This bar goes to diff mount, then down. Then this long bar here goes to standoff for the frame. And obviously the rear part of the control arm. I was playing around with bump steer, posted on Facebook for the guys that follow me there too, but we'll see. I'll measure some more. I really think this needs to be longer based on the measurements, but I'll try it as is. I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheel on and show you, but I have decent steering clearance. It's hard to tell a little bit with it up in the air. I've tried to jack up the tire. There's just not enough weight in the motor and everything here it starts to lift the car after just a couple inches. So once there's more weight in there, I'll be able to lift it up. But this side, I believe, is done. And now I need to replicate it to the other side, which doesn't have any of this stuff. So that's tomorrow. What I'd like to do is get the car on the ground this weekend just to check everything out and measure for the axle bars, CV axles. Not that it's going to be like drivable or anything like that, but really want to get it on the ground and get those axle bars ordered. That's as far as I can jack it up before it starts to move around. It's still quite a bit of wheel gap, but we'll get that cleaned up. It was about 6 degrees of caster, and then unfortunately I think it's about 2 degrees of camber. I'm gonna have to play with that a little bit yet. It's hard to tell, but it's a little bumped forward right now, but this will pull it in with the caster once the wheel is up more. But get a little idea. It's pretty meaty. It's crazy. That's wild. Good grief. And let's see. Hard to see. Looking pretty good. Pretending it's ready to go on the ground, but it's not. I started on this side. Got one bar in. That one's a little bit bigger than I did on the other side because, like I said, I'm going to probably try to delete all of that. And then I gotta do the bottom bar, swap the shorter spring already, and keep cracking.
What are we doing?
Putting it on the ground. Cross your fingers. Things don't fall apart and break.
That was loud.
Front first and back.
It's a lot faster than I was expecting.
Ooh, lots of wheel gap. Down. That's awesome. Oh, that's crazy. That's a lot of weight up front.
Yeah, I can hear that draining.
Well, I lowered it a little bit. Still sitting pretty high. And did check the bump steer. It is really bad. So when it raises up, which it'll likely do a little under acceleration, it toes out really bad. So looking at it, there's a few things I can do. I have an extension on the rack from before. I removed one, and now I can remove the other, which is going to help out a little bit. And then I do need to work on a solution for extending those rods safely. But I measured earlier when I had like 4 inches of wheel gap, which is like 3 now. I had like almost 8 inches of ground clearance up front. So that's going to be good. I mean, I could take the wheel gap down to 0, although all the angles will be garbage. And then I'd still have plenty of ground clearance up there. Ground clearance in the back, I don't really know yet for the transfer case, but it hopefully is fine. But I mean, still kind of angled now. But again, there's not all the weight in it. But it's on the ground. It rolls. It doesn't. It looks pretty good. Didn't fall out. Motor didn't fall out. So pretty wild. To be continued. Back up in the air and back to doing shade tree mechanics. I needed a longer bump steer kit. Don't freak out. I'm gonna make a brace. But it ended up working perfect. So this is 5/8 by -18 thread. So fine thread, standard 5/8 inch bolt. And normally this part was just up here. So what I did was I went and I bought 5/8 inch nuts and another bolt. And what I did on the bench, I'll show a picture on or a video on the next one. I threaded a different one into here so I could align these up really good, keep it nice and straight, welded it, and also then welded this bolt to these. So, and then I just threaded this on, jammed it on. It's threaded all the way into here, and then jam nut just in case. And then this on here, and I just checked the wheel and it fits. And look at that. Angles are good. So this, because of the distance here, shortens it up. So I used to have spacers on the rack, and I ended up having to take all the spacers out. So it's not quite the same, but it's pretty close. So I'll get it on the ground and try. But before, it did toe out when the car lifted up a little bit. So with acceleration, if the car lifts the front end a little bit, it would toe out and could make it darty. So this is dramatically better. I imagine it's going to be pretty darn good. I can't make this any longer because it'll hit the wheel. It's really close right now, but it doesn't hit. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brace I'm going to thread this up just a hair and do a brace from here to underneath that jam nut there with some thick steel. And then this bolt will be in double shear. Right now it's single and it's all pinpointed up there. So no bueno, but I have plenty of space to do it here, but I'm going to do it down here between the heim and this nut, and then the brace there plus there. So again, double shear, and it's an amazing amount of pressure that a bolt can take in double shear, especially 5/8. But there you go. That's as good as it's going to get. And I will test it on the ground here soon.
What